Hey everybody, Scott Costa, the publisher of TED Magazine. Thanks for joining us for another edition of the Distributed with TED Magazine podcast. We're doing this one on video and on your phones, whichever one you want to listen to or watch. Today we have Melissa Berkland, who's an automation product manager for Van Meter Inc. in Iowa. She's also one of the TED Magazine 30 Under 35 from 2020. We had a great conversation about the future. We had a great conversation about the future of automation. I hope you enjoy it. Take a listen, take a watch. Let us know what you think. Melissa Berkland, who is an automation product manager with Van Meter Inc. Probably more importantly, she is the cover model from the July issue of TED Magazine because she is a 2020 30 Under 35 award winner, is joining me on the podcast. Melissa, just so you know, just to go through our stuff, you are not the first cover model that I've had on the podcast. I had a few others. But you are the second person from Iowa State University who's been on the cover with Brian Rooney, who's with Callis Kingsley, a rep firm in Chicago, and Brian's an Iowa State guy also. And so I got to have my head examined a little bit because I'm not, I am not you can see, look, I am not an Iowa State person, so I'll be drinking out of my Kansas cup the whole time. I got my Kansas shirt on, so. Welcome, though, to the podcast. It's great having you on, and congratulations on the award and getting on the cover, even though you're from Iowa State.
It's probably easier that we're not in basketball season, so that helps, right?
Well, yeah, we'll talk a little about football at the end because you guys have been great, and we'll get into that. It's been a lot of fun, but give me a little background kind of into your journey. First of all, let me ask you this. What kind of reaction have you gotten from, being named a 30 under 35 and what's happened, during a pandemic? I mean, I'm certain that folks at least were trying to reach out for you. What kind of reaction did you get from that?
Lots of congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
People I used to work with in a previous life, even reaching out on LinkedIn and
really
saying, "Hey, I saw your face." Congratulations. And so a lot of that, a lot of ribbing, a lot of customers who sending text messages with a picture, asking for autographs, that kind of thing. So
autograph, because you need to start signing autographs and
so I'm making a side job out of it. It's fine.
Yeah, right. You never know. It's great. But I'll tell you what, Van Meter does a great job of kind of highlighting the work that they do with their younger employees to kind of show off, some of those skills and some of the things they do outside of work, whether it's charity work or community service work or things like that. And
mm-hmm.
Van Meter does a really great job of that. Do they, explain kind of how that sort of feeds off of each other? Like everybody's doing something. How do you guys as a culture kind of continue to push each other along to continue to get better?
Yeah, so we have a lot of committees around that. So
Mm-hmm.
the Charitable Giving Committee, people like to get involved. We're employee owned, so we have a large employee ownership committee, which just keeps people engaged and excited about where the company is going, what we're doing, and who we're helping along the way. It's more than just profit for us. So getting your hands in there and really getting involved and understanding what's going on. Van Meter is very, very good at that.
Yeah, they really are. So, all right, let's go back through your career a little bit. How did you find out about, electrical distribution? How did you find out about Van Meter? What kind of drew you into, hey, I'm going to start a career here?
Yeah. So a company called RB Sales, the manufacturer's rep, was at Iowa State Career Fair. So I did some research on them and what they were all about. And I think I went through 3 interviews before I really understood what a manufacturer's rep even was. My initial thought was I would go into the ag world. That's definitely more of my background is agriculture. So that was kind of what my head was. And then I met these 2 crazy guys from RB Sales who were a ton of fun. And I thought, well, this could be fun.
Right.
Yeah, I jumped into electrical that way.
Mm-hmm.
Straight from Iowa State, and I worked for RB for about 5 years, covering Iowa, Nebraska, but definitely more on the contractor side
Mm-hmm.
of business. So I had some health issues about 7 years ago, and so I had to kind of get out and stop traveling for a little while because the 2-state territory was just too much. So when I was ready to get back into work, Van Meter was one of my customers with RB Sales. So I understood, by that point, I understood the electrical distribution world very well,
Mhm.
and who the players were, and who my customers were and how they worked. And Van Meter was a pretty clear leader in my mind, that a company that I wanted to go work for. So I just started calling people who I knew from RB Sales, and they had an opening in automation, and I had zero background in automation, but I knew in my head that it means more to me to work with people who I like and who I like to be around, and on teams who
Mhm.
push you and make it, challenge you along the way. And that Van Meter was a perfect fit for that, especially on the automation side. So I managed to convince them that I could learn it. So, so
Well,
I
let
did.
me follow up on that then. And there's a couple
Yeah.
things I want to follow up. I want to follow up on the culture stuff that you were talking about, but let's follow up on that first. You not only convinced them that you can learn it, but you learned it. I mean, you're one of the very few certified people in the world with the certification that you have that I am wildly impressed with. So tell me sort of how you got to that. Tell us what it is and how you got to that point.
Yeah, so I guess I'm TUV. I'm a functional safety engineer, certified TUV Rhineland, which is a German-based company who basically they certify people as engineers and experts, and then they certify product. So a lot like UL, which
Right.
on machinery safety side. So when I knew that I could learn. I guess I'm a firm believer in you can learn anything you want to learn. You just have to care enough to put time in and do it yourself. You can't really expect anybody to hold your hand through it. So I had to go into it with that mentality that I know who's on this team. I want to be part of this team. Take a chance. I will learn it. And I did. I mean, I spent the first month, I think, with my nose into product training and just automation, what it is.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it's not like you went to college for automation training.
no, I was not an engineering major. If I could go back, I would be. It'd be double E, and I'd have much better foundation for it. Um, but yeah, that I just dug in.
And how long did it take you to sort of, again, and how did Van Meter help you with giving you the time to study this? Take me through the process of the training to get to where you are today.
Yeah, so Rockwell Automation, we're the Rockwell distributor, so they've got lots of online training modules down to the very, very basics of automation. So I just started there, and for I guess college kind of breaks you in that way because you're so used to just studying that I could spend 8 hours a day studying and not even really realize it. And by the end of the day, you're further ahead than you started. And so after 6 months, you really understood the basics. From
Hmm.
that point, it's just getting out with our sales guys and our automation, the other product managers, going out and actually seeing this stuff is a huge turning point. So that was really step two is,
Hmm.
to convince somebody to take you along and ask questions.
And so how long have you been the automation product manager now at Van Meter?
Um, I think it's been about 4 years, I believe. So
Okay.
I started as a specialist, and then on the industrial control side. And then after I had so many years in, we have a TUV functional expert on our team. And so I was always really envious of how he could go in and talk to customers on a level that,
Mhm.
you get tired of tapping somebody on the shoulder asking for help. Like, I want that to be me. I want to be that person. So
Right.
after I had to tap him a few times and he had to drive 6 hours across the state to go help with things, I finally just said, okay, enough's enough. This is something that I need to know. So I
Yeah.
can be that person for customers over here. And so then I just started reading machinery safety standards, which is as fun as it sounds.
I can imagine, but
Yeah.
you learned it, and I think that again, I'm not a judge for the 30 and 35. Just so you know, I stay in the room. They bring me a list of like, here's who won. I'm like, okay, I don't know who they are, what company they're from. That's fine. But in reading them, then I get the nomination forms afterwards because we do obviously a 30 and 35 ceremony. I read through some of the stuff that is in the nomination forms, and on yours particularly, I was just wildly impressed with the fact that you walked in the door with no automation training, and now you're again internationally certified in a short period of time. There's something to be said for digging in your heels a little bit and really wanting to learn more to make sure that you're improving what you're doing. So congrats on that. I think that's really great. I really do. So well done on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit of your day-to-day life now. I mean, again, COVID has come into play and it certainly changed things. You were mostly a work from home person before COVID hit. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I have a desk, but I'm rarely there. And really before COVID hit, if I was there once a week, that was fine. More than anything to touch base with the inside sales guys and, our outside guys were in the office just to kind of keep, I don't know, a face-to-face with everybody was kind of what that was about. But I was mostly customer facing, and in my side of the state, we have a lot of food and beverage. So when COVID hit, they shut the doors quickly, and they are still very much shut because we had a very nice, healthy second round of COVID in Iowa. So we're still kind of going through that. So even that they creeped open a little bit, maybe late summer, and they have kind of slammed back closed. So a lot of online, a lot of emails, but that is easily lost on customers. So phone calls is best.
Yeah, it's tough. So, but before COVID, and I don't want to call you a road warrior, but you did just a lot of area servicing, correct? So now it's all virtual. You're doing, Zoom calls like this. What kind of things are you doing to kind of keep, in touch with your customers?
So my customers anyway don't do a ton of Zoom. When you get into machinery safety, we do Zoom because there really is no other way to get a look at things, face-to-face kind of stuff. That's the best way to do it. But for the most part, it's email and phone call, except if we have Van Meter internal stuff, we do a lot of Zoom for that. It's just nice to see faces.
I was going to say, and how are you keeping in touch with coworkers then too? What kind of things are you doing? Again, we talked a little bit about the culture. We're going to get into that a little bit more, but you guys seem to, I don't need to tell you, you guys seem to really care about each other. So, how are you able to stay in touch with coworkers and people, co-owners of the company?
Right. So if, it's a coworker, informal communication is, text messaging and phone calls and that kind of thing is pretty standard. We do like once a week where our team has Zoom meetings that we can hash over what we're working on and what we need help with, that kind of thing. It's just kind of the new norm by now.
Yeah.
I'm afraid our days of just driving around saying I'm in the territory, mind if I stop in, are probably over, I would guess.
So where do you think it'll go then from here? I mean, what do you think happens? Again, you're in the middle of another outbreak. So I'm not talking about the next 6 weeks here, but where are we, 3-4 years from now? Do you think you're going to do more remote work with your customers, or do you see a little bit more hands-on stuff down the road? I mean, what do you see as we move forward from COVID at some point in our lives?
Yeah, definitely a lot more remote. Already, whenever we would do product presentations for customers to say, hey, here what's new, and this is what's new, it's an exciting things. We have customers that would sit and Google their questions as we were presenting without thinking twice. So like customers are ready to hand feed themselves with the information they're looking for without really needing to pull in you immediately until they get stuck, and then they tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, can you help me here? So I think we're going to see a lot more of that. A lot of customers getting the basic information they need quickly on their phone. As soon as they get into something they can't find, or programming, or some sort of a dark hole that they can't get out of, I think those resources will be all Skype, probably podcasts, videos, that kind of a thing. Things that they can pull up at 9 o'clock at night when the kids are asleep and they're working. Time shifted working is kind of the normal anymore.
Yeah. But it has to be tough, especially on the automation side when it comes to introducing new products. I mean, it's not like, and I'm not trying to oversimplify this, so all the wire companies out there, don't be mad, but I can shoot a video of, look how fast and easy it is to pull wire. with this new product. It's like, wow,
Mm.
that really is fast and easy. It's easily displayed. I assume on the automation side, though, it's not like you can just, hey, here's a new product and we made a video and it's just that simple. Let's move on. You want to buy it, don't you? I mean, it's
Yeah, wire it up and install
yeah,
it. Yeah, no, that's the kind of the benefit we have being on a more technical end of it is,
yeah,
if you've got a customer who wants to get into robotics and in that world, you can't
right.
do all of that on a Zoom. You got to get in there and get your hands on it. So,
But let's
customers,
not forget, you're locked out right now too. So that makes
yeah. So, I mean, they're willing to, sometimes we can pull a conference room, so maybe we can't be on the plant floor
Mhm.
around people who you just don't want to get sick because they have to be there every day.
Right.
Keep things moving. So maybe you can pull the engineering team into a conference room and do it that way.
Mhm.
But we've seen some of that. Sometimes you can sneak them away out of the plant for lunch and go through some of the nitty gritty details on things. Those types of things I think will very much continue to happen. It's just, it used to be so normal to just walk out into the plant floor.
Yeah.
It's just not the norm anymore.
Like you said a little bit ago, it used to be pretty normal to be like, you know what, I'm driving by, I'm like 5 minutes away. You mind if I pop in for a minute? I mean, those days are kind
Yeah.
of behind us now.
Yeah. I don't know that the donut drop off days are ever coming back, which is kind of okay, I guess.
And I guess that's a good point. You're right. So let's get into that culture stuff that you talked about then earlier, because I think that's, a lot of folks have talked about culture for a long time, and I'm not trying to say that was discounted then. It's more important now, but if ever there was a time that culture was essential, the middle of a pandemic is certainly one of those times. What has Van Meter been doing just to kind of increase your comfort level, just to kind of, make sure that you have a feeling like there's kind of a team? And I should probably add on to this too. I mean, it's bad enough we're dealing with, COVID, which has been incredibly difficult. Iowa got hit by that derecho last
Yeah.
fall, last summer, whenever it was. So you guys got kind of a real
Yeah.
double whammy there for a while. Get into some of the cultural things that Van Meter did for you and for your, again, the co-employee owners that you work with, to just kind of, make you feel like you're still needed and you still need to be around.
Yeah. So I think, after 7 years with Van Meter, you can kind of start to take for granted the fact that you work for a great company. But
Mhm.
if anything has reminded me that I work for a great company, it's been COVID. Because my kids when daycare closed in March, it was, hey, your daycare closed.
And you have two young ones. We should probably mention that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and my husband's in ag, so they were planting. And so it's not an option for him to stay home during planting season.
Yeah.
So it was me. And so it was one of those, call your boss and say, hey, my daycare is closed. I don't know what to do. And without even wavering, it was, that's fine. You work from home, do what you got to do. We will figure out how to, if you're not able to get everything done in a day, we'll figure it out.
Mhm.
So that was incredible. And there's a lot of companies that weren't able to do that for their employees who had to stay at home with kids. So, I mean, for me, that just was a huge reminder that I'm incredibly lucky to work where I work and have supportive management above me.
Mhm.
But beyond that, I mean, when derecho happened, we had tons of teams that were put together to help employee owners, whose roofs were taken off.
Right.
Just go clean the trees out of the yard and try to get some sort of electrical generator going so they could take a shower, and have cook, the little thing.
Right.
So we did a lot of that. We did a lot of charitable giving for people who just needed help. So
That really is pretty amazing. And it's a little shameless self-promotion, but we did a column in TED Magazine in the December issue about, and I'm going to ask you about this, about, the impact that COVID has had on women. You're the kind of the prototypical case in terms of, you're trying to work, you have two small children at home, daycare is closed, you're trying to be a great employee and a great coworker to everybody, and you're trying to be a great mom to two small children at the same time. it's got to be, I assume it's just, hitting you from every angle in terms of, you're just trying to be successful at everything, and it's so hard. How have you been getting through that? What kind of stuff have you faced, and how have you been able to kind of keep moving forward?
Yeah, so I saw that article, and that was very well done and well put, because a lot of us were in that space where, you're just, I was, the first couple weeks were awful, because it was, your phone's ringing and your kids screaming.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't want someone to feel like they can't call me because I've got kids home, so I better wait till, they're napping to call them back so it's quiet and they don't feel like they're interrupting me, trying to parent. Those types of things cross my mind all the time, those first couple weeks. And then I got to the point where I'm just like, we're all in the same boat. If my kids are in the background and they're noisy, it is what it is. I can't, I've got to do both. So let's just do the best we can doing both. And, sometimes, you feel like an awful parent because your kids are watching a movie all day because you're trying to get something else done.
Right.
And sometimes you're working at 10 o'clock at night because you weren't able to for 3 hours during the day, and you're just trying to keep things moving. But, like I mentioned, like having the support of the meter behind me,
Mm-hmm.
that, my job was not at stake, or they weren't going to make me make any tough decisions based on what was happening.
Right.
That's what I tried to focus on. I mean, that was the silver lining in it all.
Yeah, and I think there was kind of a weirdness, you can disagree if you want, but I think there was kind of a weirdness at the beginning, like you said, where it's like, oh, my kids are screaming and I'm trying to have a 15-minute meeting about what we're trying to accomplish today. And everybody felt kind of uncomfortable about that. And I don't know, pick a day that it happened. I don't know when it happened, but now people are just like, yeah, I know my kids are screaming in the background. Yeah, the garbage man's out front. Yeah, the whatever. There's the kids next door just get home from school, whatever it is, Do you feel like, again, people have kind of moved into sort of an acceptance now? It's like, this is working from home, people. This is how, and everybody's like, yeah, I get it. Don't worry about it. Do you feel more comfortable, starting to get a little more comfortable with it?
Yeah, very much so. So we have like sales reps who we do weekly calls with, and they're, he's got 2 high school kids at home that are going through work and middle school. And so he's got kids walking in the background, complaining the internet's slow, that kind of thing. And it is what it is.
That's my house. That's like my house.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're all in the same boat. A little understanding goes a long way.
Right. But what do you think? Give me an idea. Again, I've asked a lot of the 30 under 35s this, project me forward, 9 years now, it's 2021, so where are we in 2030? What did we learn? I think a lot of folks had kind of some, hey, this is what I want to be in 2030. And then the pandemic hit, and it's like, this is what we have to be in, like right now. We can't wait 10 more years for this. So
yeah.
What do you think we're really going to adapt? What do you think we're really going to, glom onto and continue to build, as we go forward? Again, once the pandemic is behind us, just, what do we look like 10 years from now that we really said we should have been doing this for a long time. So I'm glad we are.
I would guess that we'd have a lot less office space. COVID has taught us that we can do a lot more things from home than we did before. So I would guess that a lot of that brick and mortar that was office space will be warehousing. Logistics will never be.
Good point. Mm-hmm.
So warehouse, the ROI in a warehouse space is probably eclipsing office space at this point, I would guess. So, and all of the quick ship options that we've got through all of our competitors out there, logistics will never be the same. And so to do the 24-hour shipping and that kind of a thing, you need to have it on inventory. So I think things are going to be very, very different in 10 years. And website, I mean, if you weren't ready for an e-commerce type situation before, this is forcing that down your throat at this point, that you got to get good there or you're going to be struggling. So I know we've done a lot of work on our side from automation sales online, which isn't typically how we do things automation world. So we've done a lot of work in the last 10 months for our e-commerce online.
Well, that's, you know what? Again, I'm slightly older than you. I don't want to, disclose my age. You're under 35. We know that. But I mean, you really just kind of taught me something there about the warehouse space and the conversions and the e-commerce stuff mixed together. A lot of people are, going through two things right now. One, they want to buy stuff real easy without having a whole lot of interaction. There's the e-commerce side. Two is they want that 24-hour delivery. And there's a lot of distributors today, again, an article in the December issue in TED Magazine saying, I don't have the products on hand. And I have to call everybody to try and get, for my supplier partners, I have to try and get it as fast as I can. If you have all that warehouse space, I mean, it might be one of those things where you just have more inventory on hand all the time. So
yeah.
I didn't think of that until you said it. So there you go, Melissa. Well done. Well done. That was awesome.
Woo, pressure's off, right?
That's right. Look what you did. Thanks for teaching me that. So, all right. So full disclosure now, we're getting in the end here. So we're recording this before Iowa State played for the Big 12 championship and whatever bowl game or whatever it is that they're doing. Scale of 1 to 10, Melissa. Here we go. The tough stuff. Again, I'm a Kansas guy. You're an Iowa State guy. We're terrible at football. It's fine. If Iowa State lost in the Big 12 championship game and lost its bowl game, scale of 1 to 10, how successful was this season?
Just a 12. Right? If we could have like a halfway winning season, Iowa State fans are finding reasons to dance in the street. So yeah, I don't think our basketball season is going to be too exciting. So this football thing, we're really excited about.
I'm hoping that mine is. I'm excited about Jayhawk basketball. See what happens. But I'm assuming that most of, I don't want to say the whole state. I mean, Iowa University I know is there too. But I'm assuming that a big chunk of people are like the place shuts down on Saturdays because it's football time, and for 3 hours, nothing, right?
Yeah. No, we are fully engaged in football right now, and we've already got a lot of people really concerned they won't be able to attend what's in Iowa State history for
yeah, no kidding.
The game of the year, the century for us. So
right. And I don't want to, I enjoy it. And I don't want to, you're talking about worrying about this and worrying about that. I personally hope that you keep your coach for a long time. And I know that he's been, mentioned, and there's a lot of schools out there that are certainly looking at Iowa State these days saying, I'm interested in that guy. But I certainly hope you keep him for a long time. I think that he's great for the program. I think he's great for the conference, and he's done a great job there. You guys should be wildly impressive. Shows you what leadership can do. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, no, I hope he sticks around for as long as we can keep him. I thought Hoiberg was a forever Iowa State and now he's wearing the wrong color red. So
I know. What happened with that?
I don't know. That was a swing and a miss on our end. Can't compete with the Bulls, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not. Well, listen, thank you, Melissa Berkland. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and talking to me. And again, congratulations on being a 30 under 35. And I do appreciate all this. Real quick, if folks have, questions for me about this podcast or anything that TED Magazine's been doing, you can get in touch with me. Easiest way these days by email, scosta, SCOSTA @NEAD.org. Give me your thoughts. We can swap emails or set up a phone call or something like that to talk. I'd love to hear from you guys. But until we get a chance to talk again, thank you, Melissa. And thank you, everybody, for watching Distributed with TED Magazine.